And I used to sit on this side, and everything that I used to do was to criticize even before I read it. As you speak, this bill is a bill of 2018, meaning ni kitu imekuwa. What has been done by Mheshimiwa from Wajir is amendment yenye ameongezea pale. But ungeona pale mtandaoni vitu watu walikuwa wameshaandika, ilikuwa ni gava saizi itakuwa inaingia kwa simu yako, itakuwa inajua una 20 million utakuwa unapigwa fine, sijui ukiongelesha deni yako aje. Kimwacha sijui fare kitumiwa fare usikose kuenda. Kulikuwa na mambo mo. But the truth is, such forums must go on again and again and again, so that we are able to tell people, and they should happen even before a bill is passed, so that this is the kind of public participation that we should be having. Okay. Now that you've sent us, and the closest person to His Excellency the President is the MP here for Wajir, and also KJ, and also huyu yake huyu. Sisi tutaenda, propose that we continue having forums like this again and again, so that we can release it. Thank you so much.
Just before that. Wananchi, this is a good forum for engagement. And I think the idea that MC Jessy has is a great idea, that if there is misinformation on this bill, creatives are a great avenue to take the information to the country. Pigiani Jessy makofi.
Right now, for those of you who are members of Lang'ata constituency, you've seen our ICT center that we built. True or false? True. Yes, that's what we are saying. But you see, when you come and say numbers here and say we are building 295 ICT centers, it might sound too much, but those are the number of constituencies. When you go to wards, each and every single ward must have an ICT hub. We have 450 wards in the country. So when somebody comes and tells you we are building those number of ICT hubs, you might think it's a lie. But now it is a law that your proposal under CDF cannot go through unless you are building an ICT hub.
All right. Please. This is my show, guys. This is my show, guys. Please. Hold it together, okay? We want to stick to the agenda and we want to welcome your views right now, because I believe some of you have views here. But before we do that, Daddy Mato is also in the building. Makofi yake jamani. We also have Wakili Were in the building. Makofi yake Wakili Were. All right, let's stick to the agenda today, because we want to understand this Amendment Act of 2025. We stick to this agenda. One thing that is clear here, Mheshimiwa Jalang'O, Mheshimiwa Kiani, one thing that is clear is that you see all the numbers you're saying here, like Obinna said, information. Information ikiwa kwa gazeti, hawa watu hawaioni. You see all the things you're saying here, watu wanashtuka. Because probably information inawekwa mahali ambapo hawa watu hawaioni. So maybe we now start it a lie. Yeah?
It doesn't mean it's a lie.
It's not a lie, but it tells you need to improve on how and the platforms that you use to inform Kenyans. Mheshimiwa mbunge wa kutoka Nandi Hills.
Watengeneze sheria.
Nandi Hills MP tafadhali. Haya, Mheshimiwa mbunge wa Lang'ata.
Last for governor.
We agree that newspapers cannot be the only way the government talks to its people, more so when you're now talking about digital age like where we are. So it's also an easy thing for us to also go back to the committees. We put up maybe the top 10 or top 20 YouTube channels or top podcasts, so that they are put on a budget whenever the government wants to advertise and get to its people. But also, when that happens, that Alex is advertising a government issue, it is for your information. Yes, it's been paid by the government. That does not mean that now Yes. It's government. You get what I mean? Kwa sababu, you know, they see an artist has been called to perform at a national function. Everybody is trolling them for working with the government there. Then it becomes an issue. That person trolling that artist, the mother is a teacher working for the government. So, it is a very thin line. So let's all agree that we can go out there and talk to the digital team with the government to be able to put up a list of top YouTube channels, top Instagram pages, top influencers to be used to also send messages out there for the people. Thank you so much.
Mine will be very brief, and I want to see you when we're talking. Is it to let you know that we are squarely in what is called the fourth industrial revolution. It is a big revolution. It is going to bring disruptions in every sector. Come uko agriculture, you must know now that you are going to be dealing with agri-tech. If you're in education, it is edu-tech. If you're in finance, it is financial technology and fintech. So we are squarely in a totally new world. Now, like every technology, this technology called the fourth industrial revolution, AI, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, the Internet of Things, all these things is bringing to us very great promise. We will be able to do very great things. But just like any technology, it brings promise, but it also promises peril. So the technology that we have is just like your knife. A knife can cook dinner, but the same knife can stab an individual. So let me leave it at that. I want to thank you all for this forum. It is to understand. You will get misinformation, you will get entertainment, but you cannot get legal information from social media. Why would Wakili say that? I want to finish by giving you these facts. Fact number one, today, Kenya is leading on the use of OpenAI and especially ChatGPT. We are leading in the world on the use of ChatGPT, meaning that on social media, you might find an opinion. You think that MC Jessy has typed that opinion, but all he did, he went, prompted OpenAI, OpenAI gave him a response, akapost kwa social media. But that response is only as good as the prompt that he put in. When I was teaching computers as a young man, there was the first law, and the first law in computing is GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. If I tap on OpenAI, a prompt, it will respond exactly as I had prompted. Fact number two, Mwakideu, is that the concerns on misinformation on social media globally today are averaging at 58%. Meaning that out of 10 posts that you will see on social media, there is a concern on misinformation on around 6 of them. So globally, the concerns on misinformation on social media are at 58%. Do you know what the average is in Kenya? Udadisi unadhibitisha kwamba concerns on misinformation on social media in Kenya are averaging at 83%. 83% concerns on misinformation on social media. Meaning that if there are 10 posts on social media in Kenya, if the percentage is 83%, the concerns are now how many posts?
Almost 9.
Almost 9. So when Wakili says that the place to get information on facts is not social media, he's right. But allow me, Mwakideu, to say that on the side of government, there is a need for putting out information. Because the Mwananchi is a victim of misinformation that is not countered by government. You might look at Mheshimiwa here and think he's government. This is just a raia who was elected by his people to represent them in parliament. When he comes to parliament, his business is to oversight the government. So civic education is needed so that you are able to also know where do you direct what question to. So it is upon us, even as parliament, to make sure that even as there is misinformation being propagated out there, that parliament is also churning out information, because the information circles do not entertain a vacuum. If government is not informing, then the influencer will misinform, not knowing where the information is. I'll leave it there. I'll just allow me to mention.
Kabla hujamaliza Mheshimiwa, there is a question here that we asked earlier on, that you see issues like child pornography ni vitu ambavyo ni straight, mtu yote anaweza kuelewa. Okay? Issues like terrorism, Wakenya wengi wanaelewa terrorism, Al-Shabaab, you know, bombing and stuff like that. You see, now we are talking about online. Okay? Issues like cultic behaviors. I understand it. Cultic behaviors, tulikuwa tunauliza, this shakahola which every Kenyan here says enyewe ile ilikuwa ni mbaya, Wakenya wengi walipoteza maisha yao. But you see, at what point would you say then hii ni cult na hapa haijafika kwa kiwango cha cult, hapa bado ni, you know, at what point would you actually say, maana kuna watu wanasema kwamba bado haijafika cult, ama what measures are we going to use to say now this is cult?
Great question. Great question.
Yeah.
And that's why I said we must start by defining what discussion we are having today. We are talking about this amendment bill by Wakili Adan.
Yes.
If you read this amendment act, he is very careful to use the word unlawful activities. It is even repeated, so that Wakili will tell you that there is no single law that is read on its own. A law is read as read with.
Okay.
So for example, let me use a simple example. If you're using a device, a phone, or a computer system to steal, ni wizi, si ndio?
Ndio.
Na umetumia kifaa ama mtandao kuiba, si ndio? Hii sheria ya 2018 inasimamia wizi kutumia vifaa, lakini haiwezi ikasomwa peke yake. There is also a penal code ile inasimamia wizi.
Okay.
So if it is a crime, for example, that I used an example of stealing, for example, it will not only just be read on its own. It will be, ukienda mahakamani wataangalia hii sheria ni sheria as read with. So I was wanting us to understand that the Amendment Act that we are discussing today is only a small part of an existing law that also sits as part of laws of Kenya. And the hierarchy of laws, Wakili can tell you that we have Katiba, right at the apex. We have the laws of government that are legislated in parliament. And then the NC4, for example, in this law, has a subsidiary law called regulation. And even NC4 itself cannot make regulations and pass them without mwananchi kuhusishwa, without public participation, and ultimately, hata akitengeneza hizo regulation, lazima zitarudi bungeni to the committee of delegated legislation. Alafu, hakuna sheria ambayo itanifanya mimi nichome nchi ati kwa sababu imepita bunge. Hata wajumbe wakawa na nia mbaya, hiyo intention ambayo YY anasema, even if they had the worst intention, a democracy's architecture ni kwamba hiyo sheria tuseme, which is very unlikely, tuseme ati wajumbe walienda wakapanga njama wakapitisha sheria mbaya. Our democracy has checks that ensure that if a law was passed in parliament and it was unconstitutional, it is not the end of the world. Any Kenyan can go to court and challenge it, and itapigwa msasa, and it will be checked according to its merit to the laws of Kenya and the Constitution of Kenya.
Okay.
So we cannot be making that every law ikipita is a crisis in Kenya. This man is employed by the people in his constituency to make laws.
Okay.
But he does not make a law in a place where he has no checks. The river has its river banks that ensures these are the parameters within which to pass a law. Alex Mwakideu, in my committee of communication, information and innovation, I have a gentleman here who has been doing a great job.
MP kutoka Wajir East. Makofi kwa spoti na wetu MP chairman pia makofi sana kwake. Na pia na MP wanani youth member pale kwenye committee. Makofi kwa mzee wa kazi the last MP. Thank you so much my brother. Makofi kwa Mato. Wakili wangu wewe pia makofi kwake. Asante sana. Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki. Keep it here.